Do you think that your partner, a friend, coworker, or maybe a family member may have narcissistic behaviors? If so, listen in. Hi, I'm Carol Bettino, psychotherapist and the author of Better Choices, Better Life, and Directions, Your Roadmap to Happiness. I received a letter from Ashley that I thought was worth talking about today because narcissism is a word people throw around all of the time. And believe it or not, it's between 1% to 5% of the population that actually are narcissistic. However, there are many people that can have narcissistic behaviors, can be abusive, can be controlling, can be manipulative. So I'd like to give you some good information on it. But let me start with her letter. Ashley wrote, I have been living with my boyfriend for less than a year. The first 4 months we were dating, everything was great. Then when we moved in together, his behavior started to change. He became critical, demanding, and constantly put me down. When I told him he was being mean and hurt my feelings, he told me I was crazy and an overreacting drama queen. He blames me for everything and acts like he is the victim. He has me convinced it must be my fault. He constantly makes me apologize for everything that goes wrong. Even when he hit me, he blamed me for getting him angry. He told me I need to apologize or he would leave me, reminding me that no one wants to be with a crazy drama queen. I apologize, but I question, am I crazy? Is it my fault? My friends and family says he's a narcissist. I want to leave, but I am on a lease for 4 more months. For starters, because this is a podcast, I am not diagnosing anyone with a personality disorder. However, I am going to discuss some narcissistic type behaviors that are based on abusive behaviors, disrespectful behaviors, that are based on manipulation and control and gaslighting. So, first of all, keep in mind, Ashley, and anyone else for that matter, is you can't undo what has already been done. So, do not, under any circumstances, should on yourself or let anybody else should on you. All right? So, for future thinking, it is not a good idea to move in too soon. And 4 months knowing a person, I would not recommend it. The other is once you see red flags, don't ignore them. Once his personality started to change and he became critical and demanding, putting you down, what you see is what you're getting, and you have to pay attention to that. The other is when a person is unable to control their anger and they become physical, you need to get out. And if you have to, don't hesitate to call the police. Now, as far as the lease, you can talk to the leasing agent and share about the physical abuse, and just share your concern about if you stay with him, you're concerned that there may be more abuse. Also, when you go to talk to them, have it all in writing, and have them sign something that they did receive it. Save a copy, because if somewhere down the road it affects your credit, it may not be a bad idea to be able to have that letter. Now, so you may be able to get your name off of the lease and get out with a financial responsibility, but you would never know without asking. Now, forcing you to apologize is a very manipulative, controlling technique, because the whole goal is to make you think that you're the one that's bad, you're the one that's wrong, you're the one that's crazy, you're the one that has done something wrong, so it's your fault. You stay with a person long enough, you start to believe it. So, no, I don't think you're crazy, but you are in a very toxic relationship. So you need to figure out what you want to do. My advice is find a counselor, and then I would read up on abuse, narcissism, gaslighting behaviors, but read that information from professionals. That would be my recommendation. So thanks for your letter. Now, I'd like to talk a bit about narcissistic, manipulative, controlling behaviors. Just because somebody has some characteristics or traits does not necessarily mean they're a narcissist, because I am not using the diagnostic and statistical manual that we use as therapists to diagnose somebody. but these are behaviors that are absolutely unhealthy, absolutely abusive, manipulative, and controlling. So here are some of the behaviors to pay attention to, and these are red flags for you. Grandiose sense of entitlement. In other words, everything revolves around them. Their feelings and their needs are more important than everybody else's. The problem is they lack empathy. They don't really care about your feelings. They really don't care if you get hurt. Matter of fact, when they don't get their way, they become more manipulative and critical. They can become very verbally, mentally, and emotionally abusive. They play mental, psychological head games, and can get physical. So be very, very cautious, especially if you have children and you're around someone like this. Also look for traits of behaviors that show that they are very self-centered. They expect you to do for them, but they don't do for you. And when you don't do for them, they put you down and criticize you as if you're not a good person. And again, these are for male, female, I don't care. It does not matter who or what you identify with or who you are or what you're doing. Anybody can do this in any type of a relationship, even in the workplace, even in families. So look at some of the things that you need to pay attention to. They have no consideration for others. The other is they manipulate you to make you feel guilty or bad anytime you stand up for yourself or you confront them. But please keep in mind, nobody really has the power to make you feel bad about yourself. You are allowing someone to do that. And the more you allow it, the more it's going to happen. When we don't hold people accountable for bad behavior, they don't change it. But if a person who's abusive doesn't believe they're abusive, narcissistic behaviors will say, there's nothing wrong with me, it's all about you. They'll even tell you you're the one who needs to go into therapy, not them. And then if you go in therapy and you learn anything and you start confronting them, they'll tell you that the therapist is crazy or a man-hater. All right. The other is they will exploit anybody they can. They will take advantage of people. They will victimize people, but yet they act like they're the victim. They actually see themselves as they're right, everybody else is wrong, and they expect you to apologize. And they will really demean you until what happens, and this is part of the manipulation, is you will say, I'm sorry, just to end the fight, just to stop the bickering, just to stop the criticism and the negativity and what's happening. So keep in mind, what you see is what you get. You have to ask yourself, is this what you want? Now, when criticized, they will get very defensive. And I'm not even talking about criticizing them. I'm talking about just confronting them about a behavior. So they'll get defensive and they will blame you. But they do not take accountability for their own behavior. So when you're in this kind of a relationship, you're trying to get someone to change their behavior when they don't think there's anything wrong with the behavior. The other is arrogant thinking, and they are great gaslighters. In other words, they're going to try to make you feel crazy and try to make you feel wrong, and after a while you just give in because it's not worth the fight. They are very manipulative and controlling in what they want from you. So they'll use whatever they can to make you feel insecure, attack your self-esteem, your confidence, because they're intimidators. They intimidate, they bully, they belittle, criticize, blame. They're very dismissive of your feelings, your needs. And what you recognize is that you're with a very selfish, self-centered, demanding person. You have to ask yourself, is that really what you want? You're not going to change them, only you. What you have to remember is your needs and your happiness is never going to be important to them. So don't be blinded or in denial. That's really important. Now, keep in mind that healthy relationships are based on mutual respect. Good communication, so I can I can call you on something, confront you on something, and we find a solution to that problem. Nobody is going to have a perfect relationship. That is not your goal. Your goal is to have a great relationship. If we have a problem, we work it out. It's like we're two CEOs of a company, and we have a great company. And if something goes wrong, we work together as a team to fix it. We don't waste any energy blaming the other. We just look at how can we fix this? How can we correct it? So the focus is very different in a healthy relationship because the person cares about the other person, respects the other person, and allows them to confront them if there is a problem, and then they use good communication. So solution-oriented couples. Now, keep in mind, narcissists and abusers are not interested in a healthy relationship, so you're not going to get that. So if what you want is a healthy relationship, and this is the kind of person you're in a relationship with, you're not going to get what you want. So it's like saying, I'm going to go to school because I want to be a nurse. But you take classes on art and ceramics and psychology because it's fun, and photography. Well, you can stay in school for 2 years. You're not going to get that degree. You could stay in school for 4 years. You're still not going to get that degree because you're not doing what you need to do to actually get what you want. Keep in mind these types of behaviors, these types of people, they just want somebody they can control and manipulate. And they can't do it to somebody who won't let them. They will seek out somebody who will do what they want, when they want, and they will try to pull you in and put you down so much that it makes it hard for you to leave. Now, here's some reminders I want to leave you with to stay mentally healthy and emotionally mature. Not by staying in the relationship, but in general to keep a healthy relationship. And when you get out of an unhealthy one, don't get back in one. So 1, don't take things personally. So all of the things that this person did, don't take them personally. If you feel you need to explain yourself or to get them to understand, that's when you know you need to let go. There is no sense fighting a losing battle. You're not going to change another person's opinion on something they feel strong about or something that they believe. You cannot change them, but you can change yourself, and you can change your reaction. Remember, the brain can't simultaneously do opposing things. It just can't. You cannot believe that this is going to work and it's not going to work. You cannot feel calm and feel anxious at the same time. And when you're in this kind of relationship, you find yourself anxious more often than not. Keep in mind, you're not responsible for somebody else's behaviors, so don't blame yourself for somebody else's behavior. Hold them accountable. Don't hold it on as if it was you. But don't lose yourself, your self-esteem, your confidence, or sanity in another person or in a toxic relationship. Keep in mind that life's really about choices. So if what you see is what you get and you don't want it, maybe it's time for you to really think about getting out. So if you are in a toxic relationship, my advice, seek professional help. Read up on toxic relationships, abusive relationships, narcissism, all of those things, but read them by professionals. And if it is abusive, get out before it becomes unsafe. I want you to remember the positive things about healthy relationships, but I also want you to be aware of the negative. If you see any of these behaviors, confront it, set a boundary, be assertive, use the broken record technique, repeat yourself. Don't let them make it about something else or twist it around and make it about you. But if they react well, then you don't have those problems. Just get into counseling as a couple and work it out. But if they react badly, then chances are even counseling is not going to work because they're not going to change. I'd like to end with one of my affirmational quotes. And this one says, I will live my life to the fullest by feeling loved, valued, and worthy. So in order to do that, you have to be in a great relationship. So thanks for listening, and please share this podcast with others in your social media. Join me on my next podcast, because I'm going to be doing one on domestic violence. And unfortunately, everybody knows somebody, if it's not you, that has experienced something like that. So have a great day and make better choices. And please, avoid the drama.